Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the TRI Meteor, much anticipated, and I have to say it was a surprise. I don't want to I don't want to spoil things, but let me just say it was a surprise. Anyway, let me just go through the box with you guys. Box comes in the usual kind of sleeve thing. It's very popular now. Well, it's always been popular. And then it kind of opens up this way, like so. Okay, and we are presented with the IMs over there, which I'll show to you in a minute, with the tips, which are the standard tips that usually all the tri stuff brings, and which I am using, because I like them. And then inside here we have then the carrying case, which I'll show to you in a second, and then some more accessories, a cleaning cloth, and so on and so forth. So standard, nice presentation, basically what to be expected at around this price, which is roughly $110 is more or less the price of the TRI Meteor. Okay, let me just 1 second. Okay, in the back there's some basic information, basically frequency response. It's a 2-pin connector, 0.78, 105 decibels of sensitivity, 12 ohms, and as some of you might know or not, this is actually a 1+1 hybrid. Okay, there we go. Alright, that's out of the way. So let's look at them. Let's look at these babies. Very, very nice. I mean, in a second I'll give a bit more information on what do these look exactly like, and actually will show them to you. But anyway, it's kind of like a purplish color. The shell, it's got a vent, as you can see over there. It's actually got two vents. Let's see if I can actually zoom it in enough. There we go. It's got, if you see the one that's got like a ring on it, that's a rear vent, and then the other one which next to it, closer to the pin, that's a vent which actually goes to the DD, and that is used to relieve pressure, so that there's no popping and crackling when we put it on. Inside there we can just barely see the BA and the dynamic driver. Let me just get this back to where we were. Okay, as for the fit and everything, it's perfect. I mean, no complaints. It fits beautifully. It sits very nicely in my ears. Nice isolation. The cable I'm using is the standard cable that came with it. It's a nice cable, nice and soft, doesn't tangle. It's 3.5 mil, as you can see. I mean, really, in terms of the accessories and what it brings, it's simple but it's effective. The case again is what we have already seen before from TRI. Nice, with a kind of a velvety finish on the inside. Very nice. I mean, this is what to be expected, like I said. As I was saying, this is a 1+1 hybrid. It uses a 29689 BA for the mids and high frequency, and then a supposedly beryllium coated driver. And I say supposedly because if it was a real true beryllium driver, it would probably be way more expensive than what is being sold for. So this is a beryllium coated driver, 10mm driver, and that's it. What do these sound like? Well, in a very resumed kind of a way, this is, in my opinion, what the Legacy L2 should have been. And what do I mean by that? The Legacy L2, if you guys might have recalled from when I did my review of it, the Legacy L2 is... Actually, before I get into that, let me just show you or introduce you to what I have here to compare it with the TRI Meteor. I've got the GS Audio GD3A, and as you guys know, I always like comparing things which are similar. This is the only one which falls slightly out in that it's a 2 BA and 1 DD, so it's actually a three driver. Okay, then we have the Legacy L2, which I just mentioned, and here, just before we carry on, I want to show you something. I mean, if these things are not made by the same people, I don't know, because they are exactly the same. And when I mean the same, I mean identical. Okay, let me see if I can actually get this here to show you nicely. Okay, that's the right shell there. Okay, see, the same. It uses the same 29689 with the same dynamic driver, well, 10mm dynamic driver, also supposedly beryllium coated. Same vents there and there, as you can see, faceplate, other way around. I mean, these things are copy paste of each other, exactly the same. As I was saying, so we have the Legacy L2, the Audio Legacy L2, and hold on, there we go. And on the right here we have the Hi-Vis MS2, which for me was what I considered my go-to 1+1 hybrid below $100. All of these are centered around that price. So this is around 95 to 105. The Meteor about 100, 110 more or less. Same thing for the Legacy L2. And this is slightly cheaper, about $85 to $95 for the MS2. So they're kind of all sitting more or less in the same price range. And like I said, these are all 1+1s. That's a 1+2. And the reason why I've put it here, it's because for me, again, I consider this to be the reference of a 1+1, or in this case a 1+2 hybrid, to go for it around $100. Okay, so let's position the sound here of the Meteor with the rest. I'll start with the Legacy L2. The Legacy L2, if you guys remember, it was a very safe earphone. You know, it's one of those earphones that you either like or you don't like, but for some reason you keep coming back to it because there's something there that you just can't explain. It's a very coherent sound. It's very safe, but it's just unexciting. And when you listen to it and you compare it to the Meteor, and you see that it's exactly the same driver configuration, exactly the same thing, you immediately are aware of that. This is way more exciting than the L2, and that's why I said right in the beginning that this is what the L2 should have been. If the L2 was that, was this, instead of having opted for a very safe tuning, very, you know, if they had made the Meteor like that, I think the L2 would have been a little bit more well received, more well accepted. But anyway, like I said, the L2 was very safe. The bass was, you know, almost just a slight bass boost, but it was smooth and well presented, and the decay was good, and the speed was good. It had a nice impact. It was, you know, it was a nice bass there, definitely. The mids again were close to neutral, with a warm and smooth, very engaging presentation. And the treble was sufficient. I mean, what was there was just enough. It wasn't sibilant, it wasn't harsh, it was of good quality, but perhaps just slightly rolled off. It had a little bit more than the L3 in my opinion, but it was slightly rolled off. In terms of technicalities, it was just average imaging, average soundstage. It was like I said, safe. When we compare that to the Meteor, what happens here? So the Meteor is way more engaging. The bass there's just a little bit extra bass, and I'll show you a graph now in a second. There's just a little bit more bass energy, and it's just got that little bit extra impact, which makes things more engaging, more fun to listen to. And you notice it. You really do. Actually, let me just show you the graph so you can see what I'm trying to say. 1 second. Get the graph here. Where are we? There we go. Nice. Straight away the first one. Okay. So, let's see if I can show you this nicely. Okay, so the green line is the Meteor. The red line right below it is the L2. And then the MS2 is the blue line. I haven't put here the GD3A for a reason, but anyway, on to what matters. It would seem that area there between 4 and let's say 7K on the L2 is more energetic, but the reality is when you actually listen to it, it doesn't come across that way. At least I didn't perceive it that way. And then those two peaks that you have there on the Meteor at around 8 and then at around close to 10K, they for some reason they just make it sound a little bit more alive in those upper registers. And again, you see straight away on the red line, so the L2, you see it, you know, decaying straight away after roughly about 7k. It starts rolling off, while the Meteor has those peaks, but then it has one final peak at the end. And for some reason, this whole thing just comes together. Well, like I say, it's, you know, my ears at least perceive it that way. It just comes together as being just that little extra little bit brighter, and that gives that treble just that little bit extra energy. In terms of the mids, they are both very similar, very similar. No, there's no real difference there. It's just then in the treble that you see a little bit more detail on the Meteor. I found as well that the tonality on the Meteor was, although not exemplary, mind you, I found it to be more correct than the tonality on the L2. I guess the fact that the L2 is so laid back maybe just takes away a little bit of the reality of the tonality. But all in all, in terms of bass, mids, and treble, it's a close match. The biggest difference I would say would be on the treble of the Meteor. Then it is in the technicalities that I guess the Meteor then just slightly edges out the L2. So it's got slightly better imaging, slightly better soundstage. Again, not tremendous, but it's slightly better. All of this, and the fact that it's just more engaging, with the same power, it's just louder, it's just more there, you know, it's just more fun to listen to. I would say that this is definitely a much nicer IEM than the L2. I'm not detracting any value from the L2. I'm not saying there are people that might not like it better, but the truth is, being so equal in terms of everything, shell, drivers used, everything, this definitely 9 times out of 10 you will prefer the Meteor to the L2. That's the L2 out of the way. The Hades MS2. The Hades MS2, and I'll start by showing the graph so that we can clarify a few things here. Okay, there we go. You definitely notice that the very lower registers, so below, let's say 60 hertz, you notice that there's more energy in the Meteor as opposed to the MS2. It's the blue line. The mids, they all very similar. I mean, you can actually see that they almost graph identical. And then as well, on those peaks that are existing there as well, it's very similar. Where the MS2 just pulls ahead slightly is that it has that extra energy at around 9, 10k, and then as well above that slightly, and that extra energy is very noticeable. I mean, one of the things that I recall having mentioned about the MS2 when I reviewed it, and it's the truth, it's the reality. You know, when you're dealing with a 1+1 hybrid, and in this case the MS2 uses a very well, it's their own in-house DD, which is dual chamber and 2 dual coils as well, and then it uses a 33518 BA. But when you're dealing with a 1+1, you know, it's very important that the balance and the way that those two drivers are matched is well done. And definitely in the MS2, that matching of the drivers was well done, and the sound it's nice. It's got a nice smooth mids. It's got those clean highs. It's a bright neutral signature, mind you, but it's nicely done. It's well done. The bass on the MS2 is fast. It's well textured. The decay is good, and I think that comes down to the quality of the driver itself. And the mids, you know, again, nice. The clarity, the warmth, the timbre, everything is very well done on the mids. Where it really starts shining is then in the highs. The treble is you know, you have to find this balance between mids and highs, and the highs on the MS2, in my opinion, have been done very well. They've got no sibilance. It's very natural, the timbre. Only sometimes do I notice the timbre here or the tonality to be just slightly unreal. It's boosted slightly, but otherwise it's a very nicely done treble, and ultimately then that shows itself in the technicalities, and that's where in terms of technicalities, that's where the MS2 you know kind of edges out slightly the Meteor. There's more detailed retrieval here on the MS2. The soundstage and the imaging, and that is almost identical, maybe slightly better the imaging here than on the Meteor. But all in all, if here with regards to the L2 there was a clear winner, which is the Meteor, with regards to the MS2, it's a closer call, and I think it will be down more to what type of sound do you listen to and do you prefer. Personally, I like more the Meteor. Why? Because the bass, although very good on both of them, the bass here has just got that little extra. It's got that little extra. I'm gonna say it's got that little extra balls that the MS2 has, but in lesser quantity, and that's why I will tend towards more the Meteor, which, mind you, and as I said before in the beginning, this for me was the reference. But there's just something here on the Meteor that I just find, I don't know, very engaging. I really have enjoyed my time with the Meteor, and so, you know what, I'm actually going to place them neck and neck, same spot, because it's like I said, that boils just down to what you like. Do you like a more analytical, more detailed sound? Then perhaps yes, this will be the better choice. Do you want a more, let's say, timbre correct sound? Then probably this will be the better choice. That's it. And if you don't like your highs too strong, then this will be the better choice. All right. As for the GD3A, well, those that have been following me now for a while and that know me, I guess you kind of know what I think of the GD3A. I think the GD3A came along and kind of shook things up in terms of 1+2 hybrids. It's a 10.2 millimeter driver, as we know, DD driver. It's got two BAs, one Sonia and one Knowles, and it is a very engaging IEM. It's got nice, fast, clean bass. I mean, that's kind of one of the signature traits of GS Audio, is that quickness of the bass. I guess maybe in the mids, I would probably say that here the mids, in terms of vocals, males and females, in my opinion, are very well done. Over here, because of that quick, fast bass, it's sometimes the male vocals, I don't know, they just sound just cold. That's what I would say. They just sound a little bit cold. They lack a little extra warmth. But I mean, mind you, look, like I always say, and I want to make it again clear here, I'm talking very minor details, and details that, yes, some of them are very noticeable, and most of you will pick on them. Other details are details that maybe only those of us which are more enthusiastic, more, I'm not going to say audiophile, because it's kind of it sounds like I'm discriminating. No, it's just that some people have better hearing and some people have better not so good hearing. Some people see better, some people don't see so well, but these differences are minor differences. It's stuff that you really have to be under ideal conditions with good equipment and so on and so forth to really pick up on them. And on a daily basis, most of these differences, most of us won't even pick up on them. But anyway, as I was saying, continuing here quickly with the GD3A. Where do I think the GD3A stands out in relation to the Meteor? It's when it comes to the technicalities. The soundstage is really wide. The technicalities here are really good. There's the coherence, the matching between the drivers here was done exceptionally well. The same thing as here. Here, the matching of the two drivers was done beautifully. Here, it was done I mean, as good if not better. And with regards to how it then, it just edges out the Meteor slightly. If I have to place them give them a ranking, ultimately, taking this one out of the equation, I would say this is definitely first place, with the MS2 a close second, or equal placing, depending. Then here will be the what you prefer to listen to, and the L2 definitely in second, well, or third place, depending on how you say it or on how you look at it. Compared to the L2, it's a definite winner. Compared to the MS2, the Meteor, it's very, very minor, the details. If I then factor in the GD3A into this equation, the GD3A will be the first placed one, slightly ahead again as well of the Meteor and the MS2, and then much, much better than the L2. There's no comparison there. And that's basically it. I mean, so quick recap on the Meteor. It's a kind of a neutralish signature. Let me just show you again here the image. Okay, so green line. It's kind of a neutral signature with a slight bass boost, while following the lines as well of the L2. It's got nice engaging bass. It's full, it's warm, it's got good texture. The mids, very well done. Male and female vocals, in my opinion, are excellent. The highs are just enough to give it that little extra sparkle that the L2 did not have, and to give it that little extra detail that the L2 also didn't have. In terms of technicalities, but excluding the GD3A, which does show its difference, the rest here are kind of very similar. Some will be better here, some will be better there, but very similar. The MS2 makes sense if you like your sound a little bit more neutral, bright. Definitely this will be the option. And by bright, by no means am I saying that this is excessive or wrong or anything. No, maybe sometimes you might occasionally feel that the highs here are just a little bit artificial or overly boosted, but overall it's very well done. And the L2 is for those that want a more safe, signature, more everything just works, no confusion, no nothing. Just that's the one that probably will be the option. Price for price, Meteor definitely makes more sense in my opinion. But anyway, and then the GD3A, as I said before, GD3A, exceptional earphone. Not much that can be said about it. And I just put it in here just for the fact, just for measuring it up against the 1+2 hybrids. And I have to say that, be it not just for the fact that it's more technical than the Meteor does give the GD3A does give it some grief. It does put up a fight. All right. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little take of mine on the Meteor, and I will see if I can still have the Kato review up today, and perhaps as well my review on the Shure EJ07M, which I also have. All right. Anyway, thank you. Take care. Bye bye.